If you happen to be on my newsletter, then you already have an idea of what I'm going to be chatting about and sharing with you in this episode. That was the short version. But here I'm going to go deeper. I'm literally telling you parts that I kept super brief in the email, and I'm going to name what I think this story is really all about because it's not just my story. I think it could be your story too. So, if you're new here, welcome. This episode stands on its own. You don't need any context or even to be on the newsletter in order to be able to follow along. But if you want the fuller picture of what season 3 of Visibility Unlocked is building towards, then I encourage you to go back to episode 25 and start from there. It'll literally make everything land differently. So I want to start off by asking you, have you ever done everything right? Invested in the right people, followed the right advice, shown up exactly the way that you were told to, and still felt completely wrong. Not wrong as in broken, but wrong as in misaligned, wrong as in it's feeling really off. That's really what this episode is actually about. So, most people think that visibility problems are about strategy, what to post, how often, which platform. But there's a category of visibility problem that has nothing to do with strategy. It's what happens when you've been building your visibility on someone else's foundation for so long that you've lost the thread back to your own. I literally call this visibility erosion. And it happens coach after coach, program after program, framework after framework, course after course. Each one starts from their own methodology instead of starting with you. Each one literally subtly confirms that your instincts need to be overridden by someone who knows better. And it's slow. And that's what makes it really, really hard to catch. So, if you've ever felt any of these symptoms, then you could be experiencing your own visibility erosion. So, symptoms like the strategies that feel really heavy, no matter how hard that you've tried, the content that doesn't convert, even when you execute it perfectly, that growing disconnection between who you are and how you're showing up, just feeling less and less and less like you, but this is what you're told to do. This is the way that the algorithm wants you to do it. So if you want that reach, if you want that engagement, then this is how you got to show up and how you have to word things. And it's that like quiet wondering, why does this feel so wrong, even though I'm doing everything quote unquote right? It feels wrong because it is wrong, not broken, just misaligned. And wrong visibility is just as costly as no visibility. You might as well just not even be showing up. Like, save your breath, save your energy, save your time, save your sanity, for crying out loud. But that's literally the thing that I couldn't unsee. And I want to tell you the story of the day that I finally saw it clearly. So, going back to October of 2024, I had one of the most clarifying experiences of my business. And not necessarily because it was a good experience, but because it was the concentrated 11-hour version of everything I just described to you. So, let me set the scene for you. I had invested in this particular mentor for years. I invested in his program. I listened to his podcast religiously. I spent tens of thousands of dollars. I went to his in person business conference and had a blast there and had an incredible awakening experience there of what was possible for me and my business and the vision that I had. At that conference, I actually won a one on one day with him. So I flew across the country about 10 months later from after that conference so that I could sit down across from him, just me and him, and work through what I was doing inside of my business. I was so excited leading up to this. I was in a beautiful location. I was there for a week. I was completely on my own. And I can't even begin to tell you the amount of prep that I did to be ready to have this time with him. I wanted to make the most of every single moment that he was willing to give me. So when they showed up, he walked in, he sat down, really didn't say anything. And I felt called to share more about me and what I was doing, what I was building, what my human design had helped me discover about myself, how I see myself, how I want to show up in my business. And I felt called to do this because there was nothing, no communication that happened before I arrived there. So I thought to myself, well, how can you help me if you don't know anything about me? So I started to share all of this. And he sat there very quietly, very patiently, letting me just go on and on for probably a good 5 or 10 minutes, share, like pouring my heart out about all the work that I had done and everything that I had built and where I had landed coming into this meeting with him. And he literally shot everything down. The first thing that came out of his mouth after that was, more people tell me more than what I need to know. And you have a choice here. Either you can talk or I can talk. And I was just kind of like, okay, I'll stop talking because I'm here to learn. So we started to get into it. And at the end of the day, I just felt completely numb during the entire process, in the entire meeting. He would literally drop these sayings every time that I would start to bring myself back into the conversation, my uniqueness, my personality, my philosophy, my view, my approach, my process, my everything that made it me. And here are some of the things that he literally told me. You can't build a business around only doing what lights you up. You'll never change how people value photographers. You'll literally have to become something else entirely. Here's my script. Just send it to your wait list and you'll get conversions. I was just like, okay, like literally just shooting me down one thing after another after another. I was so numb. There got to a point where he would ask me questions, simple questions, things that I know the answers to outside of that environment. But right there in the moment, I was completely blank. I felt like an idiot, honestly, in front of him because I couldn't answer his simple questions. And he was like, even like spoon feeding me the answers in the questions that he was asking me. So you can just imagine the embarrassment that was coming over me in this moment. But I felt so numb and so blank inside of my head. I wasn't emotional. I wasn't upset. I was just, it was like my body had gotten up and left. And I was just sitting there completely empty. And so at the end of the day, he told me, listen, you have 100 people on your wait list waiting for this program. You've been talking about it. They've been signing up for it. They're anxious. They're ready to say yes to you. And all you have to do is take this script, put in your program's information, and then send it out. And I guarantee you'll have conversions. Well, I'm sure at this point you can probably imagine what happened next. I did that because at that moment, I felt completely lost. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? We'll give it a shot. We'll try it. And so I updated the script and I sent it out to 100 people and I got zero response. I didn't have a single sign up. I didn't even have anybody reply asking questions or making comments. It was literally a ghost town. And what that silence actually said to me was the same thing that my body was saying during that 11 hours. And it was that I was right and that I had always been right. So when I got home and after I sent all of that out and I got the zero response, I did a very, we're going to call it a very redheaded thing to do. And I deleted him completely. I threw away every piece of memorabilia that I had. I deleted his program. I unfollowed him on social media. I unsubscribed from his podcast and his newsletter. And I just completely removed every ounce of him that was in my environment. Just poof, gone. And I didn't do this from a place of anger. I did it in reclamation. And I literally, that one decision changed the trajectory of everything. It was literally me saying, no, I'm not doing this anymore, and I'm going to do it my own way. I have to figure that out, and it's going to take some time. And that was really scary, like really, really, really scary. But I knew that if I was going to keep this thing alive, that was the only way that it was going to happen. And in that, I decided going forward that if I were ever going to invest in any other kind of mentor or coach or program or support again, which I knew I needed, we all need support, that I would only ever invest in somebody that started with me, my design, my way, my philosophy, my energy, my natural visibility, and not from a place of, oh, well, this is nice to talk about, but literally as the foundation. So, what happened to me in that room in a very concentrated 11-hour version is what I believe happens to so many women entrepreneurs slowly over the years. And that literally, that entire experience brought me to build a container, a support system that creates this type of environment for women. And it's called the Rising Entrepreneur Membership. It's for women entrepreneurs that are done trying to prove that someone else's framework can work for them. They already know what lights them up. They already know their zone of genius. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what your philosophy should be or what your process should be. You already know. You're the expert. And what you really need for sustainable momentum and continuous growth in your business is somebody who supports you where you already are and what your vision is, and is not coming in and overriding you, telling you what it should be. And this is for the women that trust their instincts or are looking to build trust with their instincts, right? They're already doing so much right. But what they really just need is that space where all of that is the actual starting point, not something that is meant to be managed or overridden. And this is what REM actually is. It's not a content calendar. It's not a formula. It's not telling you exactly what to post, like copy and paste this template, putting in your own process or information. It's literally a space for you to follow your own visibility. It's the map, it's the guidance, um, it's the rhythm support that keeps you showing up as the woman you actually are designed to be. Because here's the thing, you don't need to become someone new. You just need to stop handing your visibility to people who have already decided that they don't need to know who you are. And you need a space that starts with you, your design, your rhythm, your natural way of showing up, a place that honors who you are and is there to guide you along the walking path, that is there to help show you the way, the next step, to keep that continuous momentum going in a way that feels natural. So consistency all of a sudden is no longer a problem. That's literally what I built. out of this entire 11-hour numbness. That's what REM is. So the question that I want to leave you today is, where have you been following someone else's script inside of your business? And what has the slow silence that is taking over inside of your body been trying to tell you? And if REM sounds like the space that you've been looking for, then the link is in the show notes and I'd love to have you inside. Until then, lead your visibility from the inside out. Most conversations about being seen stop at how you market yourself. Here at Visibility Unlocked, we crack open the 3 layers of visibility: market, client, and inner presence. Because without all 3, you're in the wrong visibility. And wrong visibility is just as bad as none. If you've been putting a lot of effort into showing up and still aren't seeing the results you desire, then you know it's time for a different approach. So hit subscribe, because that's exactly what the show is here to give you. And if you're finding value here, please leave a review so others can find their way to their right visibility too. Please note that the information shared in this podcast is not intended as legal, health, or financial advice and is for entertainment purposes only. If you are looking for professional advice in any of these areas, please seek out a local professional. Thank you for being here, and until next time, lead your visibility from the inside out.